Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name's Shum. I never thought I'd be writing about this, but it's been eating me alive, and maybe telling it will finally help me breathe again. 4 or 5 long years, I worked for my father-in-law. At first, it felt like a blessing, a chance to provide for my wife and start building a future together. He owned a mid-sized construction company, well-respected in the area. When I married his daughter, it almost felt like fate had lined everything up perfectly. I remember the first day I walked into that office. My father-in-law, Mr. Crawford, shook my hand and gave me a pat on the back. "Welcome to the family business," he said with that big, booming laugh of his. "You work hard, you'll go far. I take care of my own." At that moment, I believed him. The first couple of years weren't bad. I worked my tail off, took extra shifts, stayed late, and made sure every project I was assigned went smoothly. I wasn't just trying to impress him. I genuinely wanted to prove that I was worth the trust he'd put in me. But then, slowly, I started to notice things. My pay never seemed to go up. Sure, I get a small Christmas bonus here and there, but when I compared my salary to what other people in similar positions were making, I realized I was underpaid. Badly. I tried to ignore it at first. My wife, Claire, told me to be patient. "Dad just runs a tight ship," she said one night as we sat at a kitchen table. "He'll take care of you when the time is right." I wanted to believe her, so I kept working, kept sacrificing time with her, with our friends, with myself, all for the promise of someday. By the 3rd year, I finally gathered the courage to ask for a raise. I walked into Mr. Crawford's office, palms sweating, and said, "Sir, I've been with the company for 3 years now. I've taken on extra responsibilities, and I think I've proven my value here. I was wondering if we could talk about a salary adjustment." He leaned back in his chair, gave me that same booming laugh, and shook his head. "You young guys always want more money. You're doing fine. If I gave you a raise now, it'd set a precedent. Besides, you've got a stable job, benefits, and a good future. Isn't that enough?" I forced a smile and nodded, even though inside I felt crushed. The following years were more of the same. I kept working, kept waiting, but nothing changed. Each time I brought up a raise, he found a new excuse. By the 5th year, I'd had enough. Inflation was killing us, bills were piling up, and we wanted to start saving for a house. Claire worked too, but we were barely staying ahead. So, quietly, without telling anyone, I started looking for other jobs. I polished up my resume, applied for positions, even went to a couple of interviews during my lunch breaks. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I wasn't slacking off. I still gave my full effort every day at work. But one afternoon, everything came crashing down. I was sitting at my desk, going over some invoices, when I got a text from Claire. "Claire, Dad just called me. He's furious. Did you really apply for jobs somewhere else?" My stomach sank. I hadn't told her yet because I wanted to have something concrete to show her before worrying her. "Me? Yeah. I was going to tell you tonight. We need better pay. Claire, we can't keep living like this." No reply. 10 minutes later, Mr. Crawford stormed into the office. His face was red, his jaw tight. "My office. Now." I followed him, my heart hammering in my chest. As soon as the door closed, he let me have it. "You've been job hunting behind my back? After everything I've done for you? Your family?" I tried to stay calm. "With respect, sir, I've been here 5 years without a raise. I work hard. I do more than what's asked of me, but I can't keep struggling to make ends meet." He slammed his fist on the desk. "You think you can just walk out when things get tough? You think some other company is going to treat you better? Let me make this easy for you. You're done here. Effective immediately." I was stunned. "You're firing me for looking for a better opportunity. I can't have someone I can't trust working for me. Pack your things." I walked out of that office in a daze. My coworkers stared at me as I cleaned out my desk. Some of them gave me sympathetic looks. Others looked away awkwardly. When I got home that evening, Claire was waiting for me. "Dad told me what happened," she said, crossing her arms. Did he also tell you he's been refusing me a raise for 5 years? Did he tell you we can't afford to save for a house because I'm underpaid? She hesitated. He said you betrayed him by looking for another job. I laughed bitterly. Betrayed him? What about me? What about us? I gave him 5 years of my life. Claire. She didn't answer. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, anger boiling inside me. I had no job, no plan, and now a wife who wasn't sure whose side she was on. But as I stared into the darkness, something shifted in me. For years, I'd been waiting for permission to live better, waiting for someone to reward me for my hard work. That night, I promised myself, never again. Part 1 ends here, at the lowest point of my life. But it was also the turning point. Because what happened next? Mr. Crawford never saw it coming. I woke up the next morning with a splitting headache and a heart that felt like it had been cracked open. But something inside me was different. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to crawl back to Mr. Crawford and ask for my job back. For 5 years, I had played the loyal employee, the dutiful son-in-law, and it got me nowhere. I was done waiting for someone else to decide my worth. The first few weeks were brutal. I sent out resumes every day, went on interviews, and faced rejection after rejection. Some companies weren't hiring. Some said I was overqualified, and others offered positions that paid barely more than what I'd been owning. But I refused to give up. One afternoon, I got a call from a mid-sized construction firm across town. They had seen my resume and wanted to meet me. I walked into that interview with a mix of fear and determination. The hiring manager, a no-nonsense woman named Denise, glanced over my resume and raised an eyebrow. You worked for Crawford Construction for 5 years. Yes, I said. I handled project scheduling, vendor relations, and supervised crews on site. I also implemented a new tracking system that cut down delivery delays by 15%. She nodded, impressed. So why'd you leave? I hesitated, then decided to be honest. I didn't leave. I was fired for looking for a better-paying job. Denise's expression softened. Sounds like you were undervalued. I said firmly. But I learned a lot there, and I'm ready to bring those skills to a company that values growth. 2 days later, I got the call. They were offering me the job. And not just that. The salary was 25% higher than what I had been making under Mr. Crawford. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. I threw myself into the new job. The company culture was completely different, collaborative, respectful, and forward-thinking. My new boss didn't bark orders. He asked for my input. They encouraged innovation, and within 3 months, I was leading a major project. Claire noticed a change in me, too. You seem lighter, she said one night as we ate dinner. Because I'm finally being treated like I matter, I said honestly. She looked down at her plate. Dad keeps asking if you're planning to apologize. I laughed bitterly. Apologize? For what? Wanting to give us a better life. She didn't answer, and I didn't press her. 6 months later, something happened that turned the tables completely. Our company landed a huge contract, one that required collaboration with several smaller subcontractors. When I saw the list of companies, my heart skipped a beat. Crawford Construction was on it. I was put in charge of overseeing vendor negotiations for that project, which meant I would have to deal directly with Mr. Crawford. When we had our first meeting, he walked into the conference room looking every bit the man I remembered, confident, loud, and full of himself. But when he saw me sitting at the head of the table, his face went pale. "What the hell are you doing here?" he said, clearly rattled. I smiled politely. "Mr. Crawford, I'm the project manager for this contract. I'll be overseeing the work and making sure everything stays on schedule." He blinked at me, then tried to regain his composure. "Well, guess we'll be working together again." "Not quite," I said, keeping my tone professional. "You'll be working for me this time." The silence in the room was deafening. Over the next few months, I watched him squirm as he had to answer to me on project timelines and deliverables. He couldn't bully me anymore, couldn't threaten my livelihood. I held the power now, and I didn't abuse it, but I made sure he knew that this was business, not family. One day, during a particularly tense meeting, he pulled me aside. Listen, son, he said, his voice quieter than usual. Maybe I was too hard on you before. I misjudged you. I looked him straight in the eye. You didn't misjudge me. You underestimated me. Big difference. For once, he didn't have a comeback. By the time the project ended, our company had outperformed expectations, and I was promoted to senior project manager. My salary went up again, and Claire and I were finally able to put a down payment on our first house. As for Mr. Crawford, well, he learned a lesson too. His company had been struggling financially, and this contract had saved him from closing 2 branches. Whether he liked it or not, he had me to thank for that. Claire eventually admitted she was proud of me for standing up for myself. I didn't understand before, she said one night as we sat on the porch of our new home. But now I do. You didn't just get a better job. You showed everyone, including me, that we don't have to settle. I smiled, feeling a peace I hadn't felt in years. Exactly. We get to build the life we deserve, not the one someone else thinks we should have. Looking back, losing that job was the best thing that ever happened to me. It hurt at first. It broke me down. But it also forced me to rebuild myself into someone stronger, someone who knew his worth. And as for Mr. Crawford, let's just say the last thing he expected was to end up reporting to the man he once fired.